NBA trade season is heating up, and so are the trade rumors surrounding your Boston Celtics. Plus, a Jayson Tatum injury update as he inches closer and closer to returning to your seas. That's what you'll see on today's edition of Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and let's just jump right into it. The Jayson Tatum injury update. Posted to his Instagram story on Monday. Soon. Well, I don't know how soon exactly, but it does seem like Jayson Tatum is trending in the right direction and is trying to make a comeback to the Boston Celtics at some point this season. We'll talk about it more in just a moment, get to what some insiders had to say, and what Jayson Tatum himself had to say as well. First, though, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are almost at our next milestone of 55,000 subscribers here at Celtics Today, and if you're new, what you get when you subscribe, daily free Boston Celtics shows. Whatever you need to know about your C's, we're going to cover it right here at Celtics Today. Go down below and hit that subscribe button. All right, so Jayson Tatum also posted this to his Instagram story right after. He said, gotta do this again. A picture from the victory parade back when they won the title in 2024. And I agree with JT saying we gotta do this again. But these posts just tell me that Jayson Tatum is hungry to get back out there. He's nearly 30 weeks into his recovery process at this point. We're seeing him on the court doing sidestep threes, pull-up jumpers right above the free throw line, dunking off of 1 foot, dunking off of 2 feet. Doesn't matter. JT looks like a player again, but it's still going to take some time before he gets out there on the court. Is it going to be this season? Bill Simmons thinks so. He said, from everything I've heard across the board, he's been relentless and a maniac. He's passed every checkpoint and has done everything possible to come back as soon as possible at 100%, not 94%. They're understandably being careful, but at some point, like, if he's ready to play, let's play him. What are we waiting for? I feel more confident than ever with the way that this team is responding that he'll be back. Okay, well, Simmons is echoing here what we've heard and what we've seen as outsiders for the most part. Doesn't seem like there's been any setbacks in Jayson Tatum's recovery process. All we've seen is him continue to be hungry. All we've seen is his teammates talk up how rigorous this rehab process has been, how much it's inspired them to be in the position that they are in now, the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. So everything seems to be on the right track with Jayson Tatum. Here's what he had to say himself about the situation when he went on the Morris Twins podcast. He said, I'm feeling good. This rehab shit ain't no joke. I've never been the type to sit out. I'd go play pickup on the side of the road if they let me. I just want to hoop. I'm feeling better, though. I've had 29 weeks to really work on my body. This is the strongest I've ever been. The best the rest of my body has ever felt. I do need to be 100%, though, before I get back on the court. So I love the hunger from Jayson Tatum. I love the drive that he's had and just the perseverance through what many people believe is a career-altering injury in tearing your Achilles. I love the hunger. But I also love the precaution. I love the care and just the realism that he's dealing with here because this is a serious injury and it has a big-time re-aggravation risk. So you do not want to go out there and rush yourself back before you are 100%. But so good to know that Jayson Tatum, with the rest of his body at this point in time, is at 100%. And you could argue at 110% better than what he was looking like before. Now, my whole question is, why did people think that this 27-year-old player in the best shape of his life, the prime of his career, people talk about this Achilles recovery process being so long. Why do they think Jayson Tatum is going to be on the longer end of those recovery processes? Because we've seen guys come back pretty quickly, right? We talked about Wesley Matthews, talked about Dominique Wilkins as well. Those guys had pretty solid continuations to their career after that. And most recently, we saw Drew Smith of the Miami Heat tear his Achilles in late December last year. He's already played every game this season, a 10-month recovery. So if we put that same type of timeline on Jayson Tatum, and I get it, Drew Smith is on way less of a usage than JT would ever be on, and he plays way less minutes than JT would be required to play. But even if you had Tatum on a 25 to 30-minute type of minutes restriction as the regular season goes, and then once the playoffs come around, he's playing 35+, that's something I could think about here because we're seeing a guy and a role player here in Drew Smith come back and look pretty healthy for the beginning of this season so far. I'll have to ask you guys, though, what's your gut feeling? Should Jayson Tatum return this season? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Y for yes or N for no. If JT should come back and play at some point this regular season or not. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Next, we're going to come into some trade rumors for your Boston Celtics about some centers because I think that's the one glaring spot on this team where Boston really lacks some depth. We'll talk about two names in just a moment. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor, as this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, folks, the best time of year for sports, where you got bowl games, basketball matchups, and playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions on every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, what game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right with those decisions: Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app in the game. If you've been taking Jaylen Brown in your Prize Picks so far this year, you've been making a lot of money. It's the best because they offer the best features, though. All you guys got to do to pick a lineup is pick 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. Doesn't matter if it's basketball. They got football. They got college sports. They have everything on Prize Picks. They also have even better features than just the variety of sports that they offer. They have stacks. So if you want to take multiple stat projections from the same player and put it in the same lineup, you can do so on Prize Picks. You can also copy other players' lineups, like a celebrity, your friend, even myself, in the lineup you see on screen using the brand new Feed tab. This week in the football slate, I got Caleb Williams more than half a passing touchdown. That's a goblin, so it lessens my payout a little bit, but it's more likely to hit. DJ Moore, more than 33.5 receiving yards. And then Shador Sanders, it's perfect timing to have more than 30.5 pass attempts. You can tail my picks or fade my picks. Just do it at Prize Picks. Download the app today, and new users are getting hooked up with $50 instantly in their accounts after you play your first $5. But you got to use our promo code CLNS. So download the app today. Use that code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right. Trade rumors surrounding your Boston Celtics, because they are heating up. Could a trade be coming rather soon here? Celtics trade target back in the offseason, or Celtics, I guess, or acquisition target, because they try to get him in free agency. They try to get him via trade as well. Day'Ron Sharpe becomes trade eligible on December 15th. Why? Well, he signed a new contract this offseason. So all the guys who agreed to new deals in the offseason, they have a trade restriction that doesn't get lifted all the way in December 15th. Anfernee Simons has one that is similar as well. Day'Ron Sharpe signed a 2-year, $12.5 million deal to remain with the Brooklyn Nets, but still kind of down on the depth chart there, and he's a guy who I believe deserves a lot more time. Brad Stevens, I think, does as well, because he was trying to go get him in the offseason. Michael Scotto had this report from Hoops Hype. He said the Celtics would have been limited to only a minimum offer for Sharpe, but were prepared to offer a chance to compete for the starting center spot this season against a guy like Neemias Queta, who has had a stellar start to the year. But I think Day'Ron Sharpe is at the same level, if not, you could argue even better, more untapped potential than Neemias Queta has at this point because of the efficiency metrics that we've seen from him in his career so far. And Brad Stevens didn't give up there. Just because he missed out on Day'Ron Sharpe in free agency doesn't mean that he didn't call the Brooklyn Nets back up at some point, because Scotto also reported that over the summer, the Brooklyn Nets and the Celtics discussed several trade scenarios involving Anfernee Simons that ultimately fell through. Now, was Day'Ron Sharpe the headliner coming back? That would be awesome if it was, and it only ended up falling through because of some draft pick nonsense that ended up going down. But because if you did trade Anfernee Simons for Day'Ron Sharpe, you would clear over $20 million of cap space and get all the way under the tax as well. Plus, you would get a really good player back, man. I know the counting stats haven't been all the way there yet. Go back to 2024, 2025. This year, he's putting up his best numbers of his career, but it's still, not the best overall, output that you would want to see from his starting level center in this league. He just needs more opportunity. He has missed a good bit of time throughout his career as well, so maybe that was the hesitancy to giving him a bigger role and a bigger contract from Brooklyn this offseason. But if I know anything, I know the Celtics are good at taking chances on projects and guys who are just flying under the radar a little bit. I mean, just look at the roster so far this year. So I would be absolutely in on bringing in Day'Ron Sharpe. And you may not even have to give up Anfernee Simons to do so. Remember, the Celtics have a $22 million trade exception that they created by dealing away Porzingis. So they could actually just throw a couple second-round picks if Brooklyn's not really that keen on Day'Ron Sharpe and their long-term plans. A couple second-round picks at Brooklyn, maybe a protected first or something like that, and you could just get the deal done right here, right now. Now, that would add more money onto the Celtics' books. Would they try to find a Simons trade partner to clear more money after that? I would think so, but you wouldn't have to give up Simons directly to go out there and acquire Day'Ron Sharpe. Now, if the Celtics didn't go that route, the only reason to not go for Day'Ron Sharpe, because I think he is cost efficient. He's not going to cost as much in a trade. I mean, he's only making $6 million. He's not going to cost that much because he's buried on Brooklyn's depth chart, and he has so much untapped potential. But the only reason to not go for a guy like Day'Ron Sharpe is to go bigger. Now, who would a bigger trade target than Sharpe be at this point? Well, apparently, this name is in trade rumors at this point. Ivica Zubac yes, of the Los Angeles Clippers because they are in turmoil. They are at the bottom of the Western Conference. They have no draft capital over the next few years, and they got to offload some of their talent in order to recoup some of that. And Zubac is probably one of the most tradable assets, making around $18 million this season. Brett Siegel said the teams are calling on Zubac, and he also said that the early indication is they would require 2 first-round picks. And he also said that another key piece of info, making the Celtics an interesting trade partner for the Clippers, is that they have Anfernee Simons, a young guard that Los Angeles has expressed interest in previously while he was in Portland, according to sources. Simons is in the final year of his deal, and if the Clippers can get a few draft picks back from the Celtics for Zubac, that could be an intriguing scenario for them to discuss. I mean, guys, let's be honest here. Like, I'm giving up Anfernee Simons for Zubac easy. And, it's 2 first-round picks. It seems like a lot from Boston, but you would think if you add a guy like Zubac, then it's going to be pretty much title contention for the next 4 to 5 years. I mean, he's right around the age of 30, so he's in a good spot athletically in the prime of his career. JT and JB on the same timeline. You would be a perennial contender over the next 4 to 5 years. So those picks wouldn't even be that valuable to you, all things considered, and you already have a little bit of a youth movement going on. How many more first-round draft picks and young players can you afford to take on the roster? And you add Zubac, who is one of the best centers in the league. Yes, I'm saying that right here, right now. One of the best centers in the league. Last year, 17 and 13 a game. He's one of the best defensive centers on the interior as well. Incredibly efficient around the rim. He's got that push shot. He's got a jump hook. He's a lob threat. He's a great pick-and-roll player. One of the best screeners in all of basketball. And that's what you would add to the Boston Celtics. You would make Neemias Queta a backup center in this role and just only increase the championship odds of this Celtics roster, bar none. And I know this would be a situation where the Celtics only create about $8 million in cap space. They wouldn't be under the tax. And I don't even think the Clippers could absorb an extra $9 million. So Boston would have to come to some salaries at the bottom of their books to be able to match up some money in this deal. So they wouldn't be getting under the tax by any means, trading for Ivica Zubac. But according to Scotto, that's not really that big of a deal, according to Brad Stevens. He said the Celtics are under no pressure to reduce their current luxury tax bill, which they've budgeted for, but wouldn't mind going below the tax for the right deal. With that in mind, Boston hasn't shown any willingness, though, to attach a first-round pick to trade Simons' expiring contract. Okay, so they are open to trades that don't put them below the tax because they're already below the first apron at this point. So that's cool. I'm good with that because I think at the end of the day, you need to be trying to contend at this point. Like, the team's 15-9. They're the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. JT could be coming back at this point. Let's stop worrying about the luxury tax bills if those possibilities are out there. Now, the not attaching first-round picks to Anfernee Simons, I would push back on that a little bit. I would include first-round picks to move Anfernee Simons. No doubt about it, especially if it gets you a good player like Ivica Zubac. All I know is that Brad Stevens is going to make a trade at some point this season, and it's going to be a trade that makes sense for this team. What do you think makes more sense? Because think about it. You got to trade a whole heck of a lot less to go get Sharpe compared to Zubac. Who would you rather trade for? Type DS if it's Sharpe. Type IZ if it's Zubac. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. That will do it for today's show. Give me a follow over on Twitter because we continue to talk C's over there. At Tyler J. Smith. 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. YouTube.com/Celtics TV for the latest and greatest on your C's all season long. We'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, let's go C's.